So, adhyasa is not something that can be figured out through logic. Mere logic. You see, the self doesn't transform to become the body. If it did transform, it would be illogical. The changeless changing is illogical. The inert body also suddenly developing awareness is also illogical. But the illogical has not happened. The error has happened, not the illogical has happened. It's a very difficult, subtle thing. It's not the illogical has happened. Supposing the self has changed, then the illogical has happened. If it happens, then it's no longer illogical anyway. But anyway, let us just continue with this thought. If the self, the changeless, really has become the changeful, then it is the changeless becoming the changeful is illogical. But it has not happened. The inert body also has not developed any consciousness. That would be illogical. But that has not happened. Therefore, this phenomenon of I am the body is not an illogical phenomenon. It is a distorted perception, not illogical phenomenon. It's not an illogical happening. It is an illogical perception, erroneous perception. It's not even illogical perception, it is an erroneous perception. It's an erroneous perception. You can even say illogical perception. There's no trouble, it doesn't matter. But it's not a logical happening, nor is it a illogical happening. It is the happenings which are judged logical or illogical. It is the thoughts that are judged logical and illogical. When it is, if I mistake the rope for snake, it is an erroneous judgment, a wrong perception. Somebody calls it illogical perception, I have no objection. It is an erroneous judgment. It's not one doesn't have to worry about, this logical, illogical and all these headaches. As long as you understand that I am the body is not a happening, it is a perception, you are through. You have made it in understanding what Vedanta is. It's not a happening, it is a perception, a correctable perception. The whole life, the whole struggle is a correctable perception. It is not a happening. It's not a phenomenon. It is not an event. It's not a happening. If the rain falls, it is a happening. But in a planetarium, if you think it is raining, it is a perception. In a planetarium, planetarium where you are charged for the illusions that you are given.
You pay for your
You have to pay for illusions. यहाँ पर हमको सत्य बताते हैं. What I am telling is, life is a perception, not an event. Very difficult. But don't tell others, but you have to understand it for yourself. Life is not an event, it's a clean perception in the truth. Like a dream is a perception. As long as you think, as long as you understand it is not an event, it is not a happening, it is not an episode, it is a correctable perception about oneself. As long as you think so, then you don't have to worry about, using words with logical, illogical, whatever. Call it illogical perception, call it erroneous perception. Call it illogical perception, call it erroneous perception, it doesn't matter at all. As long as you understand it is perception, not a happening. When it rains, it is a happening. If the milk becomes curd, it's a happening. It happens. And if you see the rope for a snake, it's not a happening, it's a perception. If you dream yourself flying, in the dream you are flying. It's not a happening, it is a perception. Human minds are absolutely sluggish. Even after renouncing home, when you take up Vedanta, we continue to be sluggish to discern between happening and perception. They are very casual about this. And Vedanta hammers this point. It is adhyasa, not parinama. It is adhyasa, not parinama. It is adhyasa, not parinama. And we casually translate, it is an error, not change. It is a changeless phenomenon. They say if it is not changeless, it is not a phenomenon, it is not a happening, it is a perception. It hasn't happened. The water continues to be water. I call it a wave. What is it? Perception. I call it. Vacharam padamikaro namadeya means what? Sheer perception. Thus here, Naishkarmya Siddhi says, Sa-yam bhrantihi, this perception about one's being as an individual. This perception about oneself as an individual and the perception of the whole universe with all the laws in it. It is a perception about the truth. You may say, such a mighty universe, how can it be perception? Hey, what are you talking? It is a perception about the truth. The whole universe is a perception about the truth. The perception about the grand truth. The error about the grand truth also has to look grand. 10 feet a rope. If you see it for a snake, it has to look 10 feet. Colorful ropes in a snake has to look colorful snake. Yes. Therefore, You cannot explain away this universe as an event. This is a very ultimate, first, we explain this is all God created it, God decided, God created, etc., the so on, then from there it came, the universe sprang from the truth and gets sustained by the truth and goes back into the universe. We explain, we say all these things as the happenings. And then ultimately say. The tattparya is, it leads to the recognition of the oneness of all that is created with the source. Then what is the tattparya? Your perception of the reality, that means your perception of the division gets correct. Ultimately, the entire teaching only leads to correction of the perception. This snake is born of the rope, sustained by the rope, and will go back into the rope, and therefore it is non-separate from the rope. When you understand that it is non-separate from the rope, means what looks like snake isn't right? Rope. In that knowledge, what happens? The perception that it is snake gets corrected. Thus, that is the tattparya, actually. That is the fruit. The entire prakriya leads to the fruit of correction of one's own perception that it is like. That means the fundamental problem is what? Perception. It is explained away as something that has happened in the truth. The universe has been explained away as something that has happened in the truth, that appears in the truth. Just ultimately to help you to correct the perception, the sense of reality about it. If it is made of the truth, if it is sustained by the truth, and if it goes back into the truth, that means it is the truth. In that understanding, if it is the truth, then its identity as the universe gets falsified. If the snake is rope, then its identity as the snake gets falsified. Its identity as the rope becomes understood. When the matter is understood as awareness, it is made of awareness. If the matter is understood as made of awareness, if the object is understood as made of this object, then its identity as the object gets falsified. And its identity as awareness, its material, its essence as awareness is understood, and its identity as an object gets falsified. In that you are liberated from the sense of reality about the form. Therefore, sayam bhranti, this erroneous perception, this illusion. We don't mind using the word illusion. It's an illusion. Like dream is an illusion. Any perception which is, you see something which is not there but you think it is real. Or you see something that is there but differently and think it is its nature. That is illusion. You see the sand, but you think it is water. It is an illusion. The colorless sky is seen as colored. That's an illusion. Erroneous, wrong perception. It's an illusion. But this universe is not a subjective illusion, it is a universal illusion. Illusion about the truth. It is not a subjective illusion. Sayam bhrantihi niralamba. This error that I am the body is a niralamba. It has no base. It has no logical basis. It's not a happening that has, it is not a happening that has happened on the basis of some logic or anything. Niralamba. It has no support. it can't be defended. Alamban nahi iska. This perception that I am the body has no support. The moment you look at yourself closely, you discover it is not true. That you are the form is not true. As long as I don't look at myself very closely, it looks true. As long as I don't look at myself very closely, it looks true that I am the form. But the moment I look at myself very closely, it gets disproven. It gets disproved. That is called a niralapa. इसका कोई support नहीं है. This perception, this phenomenon that I am the body has no support. It is just, hanging on a silken thread. It is hanging on a silken thread. नहीं समझा? It is also like a nasikagrhe badaram yada, it is that. You are like a very, very on the tip of your nose. And you don't have a flat nose, but you have a very, very sharp nose. And try to station it on the tip of your nose. थोड़ा से चले गया. I don't think even a Chinese would find it easy to. This man, this Naikan Siddhikara says, Nasikagre Badaram Yatha. And great example. This thought that I am the form is as shaky as a jamun. Badaram means any berry. Or cherry. Any cherry or berry on the tip of your nose. How do you hold a cherry on the tip of your nose? So shaky. It stays on the tip of the nose as long as you don't move. The moment you move, it's gone. This thought that I am the form is there so precariously, and it is there as long as you don't look at yourself very closely. The moment you look at yourself closely, no, it is very important, it's true. It's true. Because however real the dream may look, it can never look real the moment you wake up. Dream can't assert its reality to the one who wakes up. The error can't assert itself to a person who looks at himself as the subject. Looking at oneself is not looking at one's body and thoughts, please. One's existence is project. One's existence is project. I don't mind saying you can't think yourself, you can only be yourself. You can't think the truth, but you can be it. In fact, you can never think the truth. You ever are it. You are ever it. You are ever it. You can never think it. And the right thinking is to think this way, that I cannot think it, but I can be it. That is the right. That is called Samyak Vichara. That is what Vedanta says. You can't think it because you are it. You can't think it because you are it. The wave can't think water. The wave is water. And to think in this manner is the right thinking. That I can't think myself, I can't think water, but I am water. Not only that, the right thinking includes that I don't have to think the truth, because I already am it. Right thinking includes that I don't have to think. That is right thinking. The right thinking implies I don't have to think. I don't have to think the truth because I am being it. Sayam Brahmantihi Niralambaji. Human unhappiness is very, very precarious. He thinks it is endless. It looks endless because he doesn't look at the truth. And without the sight of himself, the truth, his unhappiness looks endless. I tell you, without looking at the sand, the mirage looks endless. Yes. Struggle looks endless until I take a look at myself. There is nothing else can promise liberation from the struggle. Nothing can promise. Nothing, as I told you, nothing in this universe can promise the relief from my struggle. Even God cannot give me the relief from my struggle. He can only guide me, my dear, look at yourself, you are free. So God can teach me to look at myself. But without teaching me to look at myself, He cannot just, with a magic wand, He can't give me relief. God doesn't believe in magic. He believes in clarity, not magic. God uses His clarity. He guides people in thinking. That is His grace. His grace is not giving a lot of gold. And then we have a Vakyaji. It's a very beautiful one. One sentence there, whenever Bhagavan wants to destroy a person, why should Bhagavan want to destroy? But supposing he is an evil person and he wants to put him down, an evil individual, and God wants to put him down so that others can be safe. Then He gives him a lot of money and takes away his intelligence. Then what will he do? He will destroy himself. Therefore, God's grace is never in the form of lot of gifts. His grace is in the form of guiding you to think correctly. Correct thinking is grace. God. Therefore, coming back to the point, this struggle, this unhappiness is something that looks endless, but it is not endless. It just disappears when a person takes a close look at his existence, not look at his thoughts and all that headache. It is not that, if he reads his autobiography again and again, it becomes a maranam. He has written autobiography. And he goes through his autobiography. Or somebody has written his biography. And he by going through every morning in his biography, it doesn't become looking at himself. Because nobody, no biographer can ever write something about your existence. That is the topic of the scripture. Even the scripture doesn't really write it. Then what do they write? They write only your thoughts. They write your tastes, etc. Therefore, the moment you take a close look at your existence, that's the end of the struggle. Then how one is so effortlessly interested in the world, so effortlessly he would be interested in looking at himself again and again. His attention gravitates to his peaceful status of his being. His attention effortlessly gravitates to himself. As effortlessly as an ignorant man's attention gets gravitated towards the objects, the world, are you able to follow? Therefore, Niralamba, I am only explaining that one beautiful word, Niralamba. Sarvanyaya Virodhini. What else is this perception that I am the form? It is not any logical happening. Sarvanyaya Virodhini. It is not something that is in the realm of logic. It's contrary to all causation. Please don't translate it like this, it is contrary to all logic. Say, contrary, it is unlike causation. There is no causation in it. Contrary to the realm of, if milk becomes curd, it is causation. If the clouds rain, it is causation. If the plane goes out of order and crashes, it is causation. If a man falls sick, causation. In fact, nothing happens outside the realm of causation because all happenings are within the realm of causation. But this perception that I am the form is not within. Is very bad. It's not causation. It is perception, not causation. Causation is full of happenings. Causation cannot be corrected, but perception can be corrected. You can't correct the causation. There's a law. How do you correct that the water boils at 100 cc? How do you correct it? You correct it. स्वामी जी घर पे आके सोच लेंगे, यहीं पर सोच लीजिए, यहाँ पर कभी टाइम है. We can't correct that law because it's not made by us. You can't amend that law. It is part of appearance, God's creation. Therefore, causation cannot be corrected, but erroneous perception can be corrected. Had this been within causation, I would not. That I am the body, if it were due to causation, then I can't do anything about it. Even if I healed it, it can happen again. Like a disease, even if I heal, another disease can happen. The same thing can happen again. You don't have a remedy for a problem that exists within causation. Oh, badi breakthrough hai ji. You have no remedy, eternal remedy. You don't have a permanent remedy for a problem that exists within causation. You cannot appease your hunger forever. It is within causation. You can't drink water forever. How is it? Camels do. They drink only for 3 months, not forever. Even if you are a camel, you can only drink for 3 months. No problem within the realm of causation, no problem can be solved forever. The most heartening statement for myself. Because even if you solve it, not a big achievement, because it will come back. Not a big achievement. Even if you lose little weight, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? तो आने वाला है वापस. Today you go for a long walk and lose half a kilo, and tomorrow you weigh again.
1 kilo.
Every problem comes back again and again like a bad coin, I am telling you. Every problem comes back again and again like a bad coin. That's why when you solve a problem, you don't have to gloat on it. You don't have to gloat on it. Because no problem can be solved forever. If it is within the realm of... But if the problem is in the form of a wrong perception, it can be corrected forever. Human struggle is rooted in wrong perception. Human imperfections are rooted in wrong perception about himself. Human unhappiness, human pain, the pain that he goes through is rooted in wrong perception about himself. You see, enmity for one another, enmity for others, this enmity that human beings have for one another is rooted in wrong perception about himself, the truth. And that perception can be corrected forever, because an error doesn't have to be corrected again and again, because an error is not in the realm of causation. Who can understand this point? Who can understand this point? Do you think that humanity is ready for this understanding? That is why we should combine science and Vedanta. Science should help us to solve problems in the realm of causation. Vedanta helps us to solve the problem that is the form of perception. Science, we should never abandon science. Science helps us solve the problems that exist within causation. Vedanta helps us solve the problem of perception forever. In other words, science keeps solving our problems, day-to-day problems, whereas Vedanta solves our inner problem, the inner problem of wrong perception about ourselves. It solves the inner problem forever. Science keeps solving our outer problems. Science keeps solving our outer problems. And that is also required. Science is related to our survival, whereas Vedanta is related to our fullness, our fulfillment. Vedanta relates to our fulfillment, whereas science relates to our day-to-day problems. Why not? And therefore, human beings must appreciate both. One is, science is greatly useful for my survival. It is inevitable, it is unavoidable. Science is choiceless for our survival. Vedanta is choiceless for our happiness. Did you hear that? Science is choiceless for survival. Relationship causation. Whereas Vedanta is choiceless for our happiness, fullness. Let these two thoughts take root in you. You are far ahead of the rest of the society. I am telling you. You are the cream of the society. In my thinking, any individual who appreciates that science is choiceless for survival, and it doesn't give you anything more than survival, and Vedanta gives you no less than fulfillment. Science doesn't give you more than survival. Vedanta doesn't give you anything less than fulfillment. You see? And the one who appreciates the beauty of both is an intelligent person. He is not a fanatic. Fanatically taking the stand, I am all for science and no Vedanta, or I am all for Vedanta and no science. Both are fanatical. Wrong. We need both. We need cleanliness and also wisdom. We need prosperity and also wisdom. We need drinking water plus wisdom. We need clean food plus wisdom. We need science and Vedanta. And therefore, Sarvanyaya Virodhani, I have explained away this Sarvanyaya Virodhani. This perception that I am the body is not within the realm of causation. It's not a logical phenomenon, nor is it an illogical phenomenon. At best I can say it is an illogical perception. It is a wrong perception. It is not a wrong phenomenon. You sow a mango seed and you get a neem tree. It is a wrong phenomenon. It is a weird phenomenon, illogical happening. But does it happen? Ever this thought that I am the form is neither a logical happening nor an illogical happening, but it is an illogical perception. Clear? You can remember these three, memorize these three. This thought that I am the form is neither a logical happening nor an illogical happening. There is no transformation. It is an illogical, means a correctable perception. It is an erroneous perception which doesn't come under causation. In every causation there has to be change. Lot of things are there. Sahatena vicharam sa. This perception that I am the form looks so invincible. This thought that I am the form looks so invincible. But yet, sahatena vicharam, it can't stand your thinking. The moment you think, it is gone. Like nasikatre badaram yata. Yes. Sahatena vichara. You know, any error can't stand thinking. Ignorance can't stand education. Darkness can't stand light. Wrong knowledge can't stand right knowledge. Cruelty can't stand before compassion. Hate can't stand before love. And The wrong perception that I am the form can't stand the right perception of oneself. Looking at yourself very closely. And looking at yourself means what? Looking at your existence. Not looking at your thoughts and the body. What you see in the mirror is not you. What you can convey, your feelings and your thoughts, they're all just nothing. They just happen and go, come and go. They are not, the real thing is your being. You are there. Sahatena vichara. There was a Swamiji, Amara Guruji, used to tell a story long ago. You know that story? You don't know? I tell you. Thank God you don't know. Supposing you all said yes, we know. Now you'll be in trouble. There was a joker, a bride and a bridal marriage party. You know, marriage party. There are people from the bride side, there are people from the groom side. He doesn't belong to either party. He is somebody. He just wants to take advantage of the marriage party and have good food, etc. He's a gate crasher. He's an uninvited guest. So he comes there. He talks to the groom people as though he is very important from the bride side. And he talks to the bride's people as though he is very important coming from the groom side and having a good time. Then suddenly, the people from the groom side asked the people from the bride side, who is this person is so active? They said, "Humko मालूम नहीं, हमने सोचा कि आपके हैं." तो हमारा नहीं, आपके नहीं, है कौन? When they investigated, when they conducted inquiries, they discovered he is not there. He has already disappeared. When the person came to know, my God, some inquiry is being conducted about me, the moment he came to know that the inquiry is being conducted about me, what did happen? He disappeared. Sansara is like this gate crasher. Like the gate crasher just disappears the moment you conduct inquiry, this ignorance also disappears the moment you look at yourself closely. The moment you begin your education about yourself, who is this? What is this me? Body can't be aware. Therefore, the one who is aware can't be the body. Take this stand. The more you become familiar with this thought, it unfolds itself. There is only one thing where familiarity is most useful, that is familiarity about yourself. Familiarity with the literature about yourself is most useful because familiarity culminates in the vision. I'm telling you. It is the non-familiarity with the topic that keeps man in ignorance. The more you become familiar with the topic, the more you become reflective. Your attention goes back again and again. Your attention runs to things with which you are familiar. It's a very important secret. Use this secret for understanding. You are familiar with your children. The mind goes there again and again. You are familiar with your business. It goes there again and again. Supposing you become familiar with the words, with the teaching about yourself, your mind goes to pratyak. Your attention goes to the pratyak. It merges one with yourself. Your attention becomes one with your being. Your attention ran out as it were, to the objects, but when you become more and more familiar, read more and more, think more and more about the subject, if the subject becomes a very absorbing, as a very, very perennial topic to yourself, if it is a perennial topic in your life, if the subject becomes a perennial topic, then the attention goes back to itself whether you like it or not, and it unfolds itself. That is why the Upanishad said, Yamevaiva vrinite, yamevaisat vrinite, tena labhyaha, tasyaisha atma vivrinite tanugam swam. Understand? The one who chooses to abide, to be with the subject, to him, the subject unfolds itself. Your dedication for a topic, your dedication for any topic makes the topic unfold itself to you. Amazing sentence. It is not the topic chooses you, but you choose the topic. And the more you are dedicated to the truth unfolds itself. Meaning, your dedication itself makes it easy for you to grasp it. And the one thing that makes people shy away from the truth is unfamiliarity with it. We think it is away. The truth is away, comes in the way. The conclusion that it is away comes in the way of understanding what is intimate. The conclusion that it is away comes in the way of understanding that it is intimate. How can we grasp the intimate? And therefore, study Vedanta. It hammers your attention to look at the intimate. Out of share, the attention is hammered so much. The Shruti hammers your attention so much to look at. Out of sheer fear of the Shruti, you start looking at the intimate. Yes. In fact, there are many beautiful things. We ignore them because we think it is not. We conclude it is an untrodden territory. Truth is an untrodden territory. We love the beaten territory, familiar territory. I always feel those people who are generally grabbers of territory, let them grab the untrodden territory. They will be blessed. Is it not? The untrodden territory, the truth. And therefore, please understand, study Vedanta. That is the only way that can make you familiar with the truth. Minus Vedanta, even if you do daily meditate, you become familiar with silence, not with the truth. You may enjoy silence for a little while. You may enjoy some tranquility for a little while. And then again the tranquility breaks, then I say I am the same. It is like almost like another pleasure. Discover silence as your nature. You don't have to cook up silence and enjoy it. You don't have to cook up silence and enjoy it. Discover it is the nature of your being. Okay, saha tena vicharam sa tamoyadvad divakaram. Just as how the darkness, tamoho, tamaha, darkness, divakaram means the sun, how the darkness can't stand the sun, the darkness of night, how it can't stand the rise of sun. Similarly, this conclusion that I am the form, the self-ignorant, the darkness of self-ignorance can't stand light of looking at oneself. That is the sun. The light of looking at oneself. Because that oneself happens to be the truth. When you look at yourself, that is the light, that is the sun. It's like you are throwing the flood of light. In fact, the light of the truth is thrown on the truth itself. People may find it's a little difficult to swallow. It is the truth that throws light on itself. I have to throw light upon myself. I have to throw light upon myself. I have to look at myself, the subject. Therefore, here Bhagavan says, Yadvad divakaram iti tasmat, we'll complete it. Tasmat, therefore, mithya-jnanam, the wrong knowledge, adhyasa aparaparyayam. Adhyasa, mithya-jnana, otherwise called adhyasa. What a language. What we call adhyasa is called mithya-jnana. You translate it in English, do you know what it means? The error which is otherwise called error. Because both mean error. Adhyasa means error. Mithya-jnana also means error. The error, otherwise called error. So we have to we have to change the language. The error in the sense, in the meaning, wrong perception, wrong knowledge. Tasmat mithya-jnanam adhyasa aparaparyayam yatha parinitam, as described above, astiti is universally felt. The feeling that I am the form is universally felt, which is the root of the entire suffering. Astiti tannimitascha, and born of this perception that I am the body. This perception that I am the body is no ordinary error, please. Mistaking one object for another object doesn't really, is not a big problem. But mistaking the subject for an object is mistaking the unlimited for the limited. That is the fundamental. You know, sins can be forgiven, error can't be forgiven. Supposing you tell me a lie, I can forgive you, koi baat nahi. Sins can be forgiven, actions can be forgiven. Supposing you mistake the rope for a snake, are you forgiven? No. One is never forgiven for errors. Perhaps one may be forgiven for sins. Sins are different from error. Man's problem is not sins. Man's problem is self-error. Self-misconception. Presupposing self-misconception, man commits all sins. Man commits all sins, presupposing misconception. Sins can be forgiven. Bhagavan can say, I can take upon myself all your sins. Let him take upon even one small error. Can he take all? First of all, even sins nobody can take. Even sins you have to go through the results. But I don't mind accepting if somebody can take. See, sins can be forgiven. But errors, supposing a person is illiterate, how do you forgive the illiteracy? I forgive illiteracy. How? It is still illiteracy. You can't ward it off like that. बहुत मुश्किल है ये. Therefore, तन्निमित्तश्च लोकव्यवहारः. Therefore, human struggle is born of self-ignorance and self-error, not because of self-sins. Sin is not our problem. Illiteracy about the truth is the problem. Illiteracy about the truth is the problem, not sins. Once the illiteracy goes, sins also go away. What is a sin? Sin is something that is committed, a wrong action committed under the pressure of self-ignorance, under the pressure of self-error, under the pressure of unhappiness. When man is unhappy, he commits all kinds of sins. Therefore, the reason, the cause for committing sins is unhappiness. And unhappiness is due to self-misconception. So the fundamental problem is self-misconception. Lok-vyavahara iti cha tvayapi angikaraniyam. And therefore here the Siddhanta says, my dear Purvapakshi, even as a Purvapakshi, you have to appreciate, you can easily understand that the fundamental problem is only adhyasa. Don't think it is association, it is adhyasa. The association of the subject with the body is not a real association, it is erroneous. Angikarana. Drishtam anusarata, if you follow what is evident. Drishtam anusarata. As a person who appreciates the evident. If you are a person who can appreciate what is evident, then you can appreciate that human problem is in the form of self-misconception. Because if the subject can't be the object, and if the object can't be the subject, if the subject can't be the body, and if the body can't be the subject, and still if they look to be one, it is not through transformation, it is through a perception. It is a correctable perception. It's a correctable perception, an illusion. Supposing somebody uses the word illusion, there is nothing wrong in it. As long as you understand correctly, the cow here. Any word is all right. Any word is all right. I am not very particular about the words, as long as they are interpreted to mean correctly. Thus, we are through. Iti bhavaha. Now, I am just summing it up. Before you go, you have to capture some essence you have to remember. Adhyasa, this self-misconception, is neither a logical happening nor an illogical happening, but it is a correctable perception. All logical happenings happen in time, or illogical happenings happen in time, or even all illogical thoughts happen in time, whereas this perception that I am the form is not happening in time, because time itself presupposes this perception, this adhyasa. The time itself presupposes the adhyasa. Therefore, time is in adhyasa, not adhyasa is in time. Whereas all happenings happen in time. That's why it is anadi. This is the nichod, the essence that becomes a milestone for you in your journey to the truth. A great milestone, understanding this problem. Able to follow?